Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my garden. Welcome outside for another Cook Along live stream this Friday, July 3rd. It's been a fantastic day. This is the first time that I'm doing anything outside, so you'll have to bear with any hiccups that we might have. But I think we're gonna have some good fun today, getting some burgers put together. Now, I've already got my coals ready. The charcoal's good to go, all nice and hot. I'm gonna get it poured out here, and then we're gonna start making our patties. Hey, Felicia, how's it going? Michael, Xenia, good to see you all. Now I'm going to pour my coals on one side of the grill and try and make them as even as I can. I don't want them to be too high. Something like that. I'm just going to move this over to the side. And then I'm actually going to use this guy to kind of flatten them out and try and keep them on one side of the grill as best I can. Now what this is going to do is it's going to have one side which is like the grilling side, and then the other side will be the cold side. So if you need to put something and not sear it or not keep cooking the surface of it, you can put it on the other side, on this side here, which will be cooler. I need you guys to also let me know if it's too loud, because I'm right on a major street, so you guys might hear the traffic in the background, but hopefully it's not too loud. So with my burgers, I decided I'm going to also grill up a corn on the cob and show you guys how to just do it in the husk. It's super easy. It's really not going to change at all from what I got there. Just going to go right on the grate and get nice and cooked up. Very cool. Where's this guy right here? So I am going to put my grate like this. And the reason I'm going to be doing it this way is because these have two little like slots where you can add more charcoal or fuel if you wanted to. And there's like a little ridge where this hinge is, and you actually will not get a decent sear across that hinge. So I like to just make sure that this part is flat right over the coals. You'll notice my gloves are pretty good. They absorb heat pretty well. Gonna get them out of the way real quick. And we're going to go ahead and get started with our meat. So I will put this there. Looks like you guys can see that. Move my knife. And what I'm going to do is actually cover this. And I'm going to spin it around. You'll notice I got some gunk over on this side here. I'm actually going to just burn it off by putting it right over the coals. And there we go. Now for me, I prefer cooking over charcoal if I'm barbecuing or if I'm grilling. If you have a gas grill, that's totally up to you. Totally, it's just a preference thing, really. As far as the meat goes, this is just 80/20 ground beef. Got it at the store. Gonna pop it into this little bowl. Set the bowl over there. Got one green onion. Let me see if I can get that shadow off. I'm gonna cut off the root part of it, and I'm really just gonna kind of slice this up. And I'm totally not used to this setup because the table is way lower than I'm used to. It's also rocking a lot, so bear with me. But basically what I want to do is just kind of mince this onion down. We're gonna be mixing the onion and the parsley that's on the cutting board up with the meat. And you can really mix as much in with the meat as you want, or not. Leave it kind of plain. We're going pretty basic. We are kind of being a little bit fancy with the parsley and the onion, but you can get way fancier than what we're doing. Or you can just go straight meat. You don't have to put anything in the meat. I just like this flavor, so that's what I'm doing. As we do normally with our herbs, we're going to take this and kind of roll it in on itself like this. Make it like a little satchel or sachet or parcel. And we'll just give it one slice through. Like so. That seems pretty fine. This in with the meat. And then I'm just going to use my hand and just kind of mix this all together. You don't want to crush it together. You don't want to really like squeeze the meat and get all of the You don't want to squeeze the herbs and whatever seasonings you put in here, but you do want to make sure that it's mixed fairly well through. I've got a pound of meat in here. I'm going to be making 2 burgers. One for tonight, and then probably I'll have a leftover burger tomorrow. But I do want to make sure that it's well incorporated, well mixed. But I'm being pretty light with my fingers, just making sure that it's getting incorporated, not really much else. Splat, yes. So there we go. We still got a pretty loose meatball here, but it's got all of the vegetables or all of the parsley and onion mixed through. I am going to add one more thing just because I like it. You'll notice I've only touched the meat with this hand. I haven't touched it with my left hand yet. So I'm going to use my left hand. Just add a couple of red pepper flakes. Just give it a little bit of a kick. Not too much. There we go. And then same thing. I'm just going to mix it through. But not be too rough with it. How's the audio quality? You guys hearing me and not much of the traffic, or is the traffic obvious, or just kind of curious? I might end up switching this around. There we go. So this is about a pound of meat. I'm making 2 half-pound burgers. So for me, I'm basically just going to cut this in half or split it in half, roll those into patties, and then get that set up. I'm going to do that on this plate. I didn't think to bring a second plate out for this. So let me just do this like this. Now, one of the things with burgers, now I've touched it with both hands, so I'm going to try not to touch anything else with my left hand. All right, cool. Thank you. Good. I'm going to split them up into two balls, essentially. If you have a scale, like a kitchen scale or something, you can totally weigh them if you want to get that crazy about it. I just kind of eyeball it, say, all right, this one looks about the same size as that one, so they're probably about the same weight. And I'm going to just kind of very lightly flatten them out. When you flatten them out, you want to make sure that you put a little bit of a dimple in the middle of the burger. You want the edges to actually be a little bit thicker than the center. And the reason is when the burger hits the pan, or if you're doing it on skillet or whatever, it's going to start shrinking, and the edges are really going to kind of curve over. They're going to really like shrink down. If you have the middle part be convex, or yeah, if you make the middle convex instead of concave, it's just going to accentuate that. That's when you get those like hockey puck looking burgers where it's just almost like a meatball, really. If you put a little bit of a dimple in the middle, you kind of offset the shrinkage. So you'll notice that there's just a little bit of a dimple in there. It's not a super huge dimple, just a little bit. And then make your patties like, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch thick. They should be just slightly bigger than your buns, because again, they're going to shrink a little bit. Do the same thing with our second patty here. There we go. I got 2 good looking patties there, just making sure there's a little bit of a dimple in the middle. And then if there are any large cracks, just try and kind of mash them together. Very cool. Those look awesome. You can see that our grill is starting to smoke because all of that stuff that's been kind of grilled onto the grates is starting to burn off. Now I am going to pull this out, do this, and y'all are going to come with me to the sink while I wash my hands. I'm going to grab another plate as well, because that one has meat all over it now. I'm using the towel to open the door. I'll grab another towel on my way back out. And the cat has come to accost me. Hopefully you guys are still getting video here. Set that there. How's it going? You guys have a good week leading up to the 3rd of July? I have. Excellent week. Busy, but productive and successful. I mean, it was a really good week. Having today off really kind of accentuates how much more fun it's going to be to do the cook-alongs on Sunday afternoons or Sunday evenings instead of Fridays. because I just had all day to kind of prepare out for this. Grab a different towel, not the meat towel. And then you guys will have to let me know if you guys are seeing all of this fine, because I don't have a monitor that I can look at and confirm that with. All right, well, grab our other plate. And back outside we go. Do. Got a doggo down there, chilling. Hi, puppy. Hi. All right. Back over to our station. Let me know now that I can see the screen. Did that get choppy at all for y'all? Was it, you know, easy to watch, or how did that look? Just kind of curious on that. Long week. Yep, there was definitely meowing over there. Ooh, that's another thing I forgot, olive oil. Yeah, might as well go grab some olive oil. Well, I guess we'll all be right back. So when I'm doing this, when we're going inside and actually grabbing some more stuff, is this smooth for you, or does it get choppy the further in that I go? I'm curious about that. I haven't really had a chance to test that. So you guys are my guinea pigs, and you guys get to let me know. Ah! No, cat, you can't come out. You're an indoor kitty. All right. There we go. We'll do this. Hello, hello again. Blair Witch, yes, definitely. Awesome, I'm glad that that's smooth, because that actually makes this a lot easier. If I forget things, I don't have to worry about leaving you guys. Yes, you should definitely put some olive oil in the dimple. And on top of putting olive oil in the dimple, we're actually going to season these on the outside. There we are. I'll set this over to the side. So, now that I've got a second plate, I'll move all of my veggies over to that. And we're good to go. Let's pop the lid off real quick. We'll switch to that. You'll notice that all this is super burned on right now, which is great. It's actually pretty much been nuked, so when you scrape it, it's going to come right off. Also, you're sterilizing the cooking surface, so even if there is something there, it's going to be clean. It's not going to have any bacteria on it. There we are. Now, like I said, we've got the coals on one side, so we've got the coals over here. And I see that that's kind of behind the picture in picture, so maybe I'll end up moving this grill in a second. But coals are over here, so this is going to be where we put our burgers. We're going to put the burgers directly over the coals, and then we're going to put the lid on the burgers while that one side gets seared, essentially. Once we flip them, we'll put the cheese on. We'll do the same thing, cover it up, and then once they're kind of cooked, we'll move them over to this side to let them finish cooking. What we want on this side is not to cook the burgers all the way through on the hot side. We just want to get that sear on it so that you get those grill marks, or so that you get those char marks if the coals flare up. You get that flame, I don't want to say flame broiled, but you get that, you know, cooked over a fire flavor over the coals, which is pretty much what you're looking for. Oftentimes, this side's going to be way too hot to do that and cooked all the way through without burning the heck out of the outside of the burgers. So what we're going to do is try just to sear it on the one side and then move it over so it finishes cooking. Very similar to doing something on a pan and then throwing the pan in the oven. This is kind of the barbecue version of that. Now I've got this bowl which has a bunch of meat stuff in it. I'm just going to set it over here and kind of use it as a garbage for anything else that I'm not going to be using. All right. So I am going to grab my little spatula here. Slide it under the meat. And I forgot to season the meat, so give me 2 seconds. Put the spatula down. Put the spatula down. I'll grab my salt. And you want to be very generous with your salt, because we're seasoning these right before they go onto the grill. So a lot of this flavor is actually going to kind of drip off into the grill. We're only seasoning the one side. When we put it on the grill, once it starts cooking, we'll season the other side over the coals. There we go. And then once again, we'll get our spatula under here. Good to go. And I'll just put this one on this side first. I'm just going to flip it over. And then I'm just going to kind of push it in. We are getting a little bit of a flare up, which is fine. The oil dripping into the coals is going to cause that. And the fat coming out of the meat is going to cause that as well. So that is normal. It's not a bad thing. And same thing with the second one. We'll just do that. You got a few seconds once you touch the grill to kind of get them placed where you want them placed. And then they're going to sit there until that side sears and cooks off. Now, the flames are going to continue until you cover it. Once you cover it, you're denying air to the fire. And so the flames actually die right down, and then you're just getting the heat. So, little pro tip, I keep my vents on the top full open for something like this. Vents on the bottom full open because I want that airflow and I want that heat to come through. So I'm done with this plate for now. Set it over there. And what I want to do is I'm going to put avocado on my burgers. If you put sliced avocado on your burger, it's usually going to become kind of slimy and almost give like a barrier of, it's going to want to slide out when you take bites. So what I'm going to do is actually cut these in half and make almost a quick guacamole. I am actually going to move this a little bit to the side. Just a bit smoky. I'm just going to cut this very similar to how we do it with guacamole. Just cut into the avocado. I'm going to use my knife and cut very gently through into little squares. Make sure you have a super ripe avocado. I've got a plate right here. I'm just going to kind of squeeze the avocado in. And that'll get all the flesh out. And I'll do it here with the second one as well. Just get that seed out real quick. There we are. Now also in my mind, I'm just kind of keeping track of how much time the burgers have been over the flame, and then I'll flip them when it's been about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Shouldn't need more than about 2 minutes aside. There we go. Eat any extra avocado that gets on your hands. That's what it's there for. All right. See what you look like. Looking good? Still cooking. We'll let those guys just keep going for a little longer. Now I've got a fork on this side. I'm really just literally gonna just kind of smash the avocado down. You're essentially just making an avocado spread. And since Nathan recommended I go get some olive oil, I'm actually gonna mix some olive oil in here as well. It'll just make it a little bit more spread-like. Now, if you want, and you can find it, grab a clove of garlic. We're gonna put that into the guacamole, or into, it's not guacamole, into the avocado mash as well. I'm just gonna take it and slam it down, smash it, and then just really quickly dice through it. I might dice it a couple times just to make sure that it's finely sliced. And I really want this to be almost a paste, so I'll just kind of mash it into the board. There we go. Then we'll mix that in with the avocado. Wipe off the knife. Scrape off as much as we can. And now it's about time to flip our burgers. Whew. I don't know, can you guys see them? Not really. And move this over to there. That look good? So the top is gray. It's not seared, it's not burned or anything. We're just gonna really quickly slide underneath and give them a flip. Top is seared, looks fantastic. And there we go. I'm actually going to just set them over here a little bit. You'll notice that the actual burgers are on fire because of the olive oil that was on there. Once you get them a little bit away from the heat, it'll be perfect. They'll just kind of sit there and finish cooking. And you can kind of push them closer or move them further away, however you want. I'm going to go ahead right now and put my cheese on. I'm just using American. If you want to use a mix of American and cheddar, or cheddar alone by itself, or if you want to put something a little bit more hearty like Gouda or provolone or Swiss blue cheese, all great choices. We're going to go ahead and let the cheese melt while the second side of the burger kind of cooks. Now, these guys are pretty close to the coals, so they're still getting heat, but only like half of them is getting a lot of heat. And so what I'm going to do is actually slide them a little closer. I don't want a lot of flame, but I do want the heat from the coals. That's probably as close as I can get it without it flaring up. Doggo, no, go away. And I'm just going to cover it again and let those guys finish cooking. Now that the one side is actually seared, I almost forgot about my corn. This is going to go right in on the cold side of the grill. And really what you're doing is you're cooking the corn inside the husk. If you've ever done like aluminum foil wrapped corn, the husk serves the exact same purpose. Cooks the corn, it just kind of steams itself. Fantastic. All right, so we threw our garlic in here. Let me catch up on some of the chat. Gonna need a head camera. Yeah, I should probably get a head camera. Hey, Ivy, how's it going? Cameron, good to see you. See here. Monday, tomorrow, Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. Yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna go flying. I'm gonna go flying around the bay. Let's see if I can go land at San Francisco because they have no traffic. So see if they'll let me do a touch and go or something like that. That would be fun. Love a little guac on a burger. Yep, guac is awesome. Again, this isn't like a true guacamole. I'm really just doing the avocado and the garlic. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil because I'm gonna be adding tomato and onion separately as separate toppings. I don't also want to put them in the avocado spread. Let's go ahead and add just a touch of olive oil, maybe like a teaspoon. And as we kind of mix this together, you'll notice that it's going to become more creamy, which is exactly what we want. I'll probably add a little bit of salt and pepper to this just to season it. Not much. The meat is going to be fairly salty with the cheese and everything on it. But you do want to kind of make sure everything is seasoned properly, because if anything is not seasoned, it's just gonna take away from the overall flavor of the dish. Just a little bit of salt. Do some cracked pepper as well. Very cool. All right. I'm going to set that just to the side. I'm actually going to give it a quick taste. Perfect. Just a hint of salt in the background, which is what I want. Get this off. If you look at the corn, you'll notice that the leaves are starting to kind of wilt, and you are getting some color on the husk. I don't know if you guys can see that in the camera, but it's getting brown a little bit on this side, which is exactly what you want. Cheese has started to melt. I'm actually going to slide the burgers to the colder side of the grate. So like over here. If we I don't know if I can peek around on the back side of this. Well, I can see it. It's nice and seared. And that's exactly what you want. I'm gonna move my corn closer to the coals, the hot side. and let that kind of cook. It's not going to flare up on the corn because there's no oil on the corn. There's no fat, so there's nothing attracting the flame. The reason that it always flames up on meat, especially if you have olive oil or butter or something on there, is because the fat is what catches fire, and that's what attracts the fire from the coals. So, and you'll notice that if you leave it right over the coals, you'll start actually scorching the husk, and that's not what you want. You want it to be close enough that you're wilting the husk and kind of steaming the corn on the inside, but not close enough that you're burning everything. And I can actually probably move this a little bit away. Right there, right where the burgers were, is perfect. And close this again. You'll notice that the cheese is also getting nice and melty. The longer you keep the cover on, the more melty the cheese will get. Some cheeses like Gouda don't melt that well. They're just not melty cheeses. You'll put them on, they'll still kind of like, they might get kind of globby, but they won't really melt. And that's fine. You can just kind of pull them off whenever you're ready for them. I'm going to take one of these tomatoes, got it from my garden. As you can see behind me, I've got plenty of tomatoes in my garden. I'm absolutely loving them. And this is just the beginning of the season, so can't complain about that. We're going to take this, and what I like to do is if it has a fatter side, like this guy here has the stem side is actually really, really nice. I'm just going to start on that side and cut down about 1/4 of an inch. And then the slices I'm going to do are going to be about 1/4 of an inch thick. Now you can use a serrated knife if that works better for you. This chef's knife of mine is actually fairly sharp, so I'm all right just cutting through these tomatoes. I'm probably going to do 2 tomatoes per burger. 2 tomato slices per burger, excuse me. And we'll just do that. So we got our 4 tomato slices. I'll set them on the side. Actually put them on the condiment plate over here. Now I've got a pickle. Put the pieces over there. Wipe up the tomato juice. Got a pickle. I want these to be actually longer slices, so I'm going to slice diagonally. And what that'll do is instead of giving me the round slices, if I just do this way, you go diagonally, it'll give you those oblong kind of oval shaped slices, and they'll actually be slightly bigger than